Hello and welcome to Getting Goosebumps, the podcast where we venture into the spine-tingling worlds of R.L. Stine. My name is Stacy.
And I'm running out of things to say, even though we're only at book 9. Alison!
Happy birthday. I'm Mickey.
Thank God you clarified. Oh,
I
would
messed
never
up
have
several
known.
things in there, but you know what? That's how I do.
That's how
No.
we're leaving it.
Yeah.
It lives
We
like
love
that
it.
now.
It's our joy. If you take it from us, we'll be very sad.
Speaking of Frosty the Snowman says happy birthday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
It's
no,
winter.
we get it. We
Yeah.
get it. We understand.
Okay, good.
I did not get it. I was like, okay, happy birthday. Great. I hope there's cake.
It makes as much sense as anything else.
Okay.
Okay.
Today we are here to discuss Welcome to Camp Nightmoon. I almost said Welcome to Dead House, and we are not on the Dead House.
Welcome to Dead Camp.
We are welcome to Camp Nightmare. This is, did you say book number 9? We're on book number 9 already.
Yeah, I know, right?
Awesome. We do have a summary that Alison is going to grace us with.
Welcome to Camp Nightmare. Billy is a normal 12-year-old boy on his way to spend the summer at Camp Nightmoon. On the ride there, he meets several other campers. 3 boys named Mike, Colin, and Jay, and 2 girls, Dory and Dawn. Everything seems fine. The kids are having fun making friends, but the bus driver drops them off in the middle of nowhere and drives away laughing. And there's rustling nearby, some strange beasts about to attack. But they're saved by the head counselor of Camp Nightmoon, a boisterous man nicknamed Uncle Al, who appears with a strange-looking gun to ward off the animals. This is the first sign that Billy's time at camp won't be what he expects. Uncle Al takes the boys to the boys' camp, and Dawn and Dory go off to the girls' camp. Billy, Colin, Jay, and Mike all share bunk 4 and meet their counselor Larry, a cruel and odd older teen. Camp Nightmoon is strange. There's no nurse, there's an abandoned bunkhouse that campers are forbidden to go to, and at night, horrible howls echo through the air. There's also a warning about a dangerous beast named Saber who comes out at night. Kids start getting hurt, and once they get hurt, they start to disappear. Uncle Al and the other camp counselors claim that these missing kids never existed in the first place. Billy doesn't know what to do, and things are looking bleak. It's so bad that Dawn and Dory, the girls from the bus, have snuck away from their side of the camp to warn Billy it's happening over there, too. Girls are going missing, and the counselors pretend they never existed. That night, Billy is pulled out of bed and forced to join the rest of the boys from camp in front of Uncle Al, who hands them all tranquilizer guns. There are 2 escaped girls from the other camp, you see, and Billy is being ordered to hunt them. He refuses, instead shoots at Uncle Al, terrified and angry. But then Uncle Al is laughing, and so are the other kids, and Billy's parents walk out of the woods. This has all been a test, they say. Billy had to be tested so he could go on a very important trip with his scientist parents to a far-off place called Earth.
Dun dun dun!
Yeah,
marvelous.
That is the most dun 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 thing that, like, this book is bonkers, everybody.
Bonkers.
Absolutely bonkers.
It's not so bonkers, though.
No, I was gonna say it's not super bonkers.
It's, like, not Monster Blood level bonkers.
Okay,
Right.
true. It's not, like, wacky bonkers. It's more, like...
I think it's a calculated level of, like, whoa at the end.
It's definitely a whoa at the end. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Why don't we talk about the cover, guys?
I am a little disappointed in this cover because it is the same colors as the last book.
Yeah.
I noticed that too.
And
That's
like,
true.
Why would you do that to me?
You mean the framing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, even this one has the red on it that Alison was talking about in the
Oh, yeah.
last one.
Yeah, I thought that too when I picked up the book. I was, and about the illustration, it's a beautiful illustration, obviously, they all are.
Yeah.
But I was like, I mean, it's a tent. There's this creepy hand monster thing there. Okay.
It's like clawing at the mesh outside the tent, the bug net, and it's It's got like nice little tear detail, but it's not really anything spectacular. I am looking at the international release covers though, and I have to say most of them are the same. Even oh no, that's Chinese. Korean is actually pretty bonkers. That's my second time saying bonkers. I'll try not to use it again. However,
the UK one is super creepy as usual. Like,
Yeah.
not in a good way, like in an I'm uncomfortable way.
the UK one is like, it's trying to be like a teen heartthrob novel, but with like some mild like horror elements, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
But you know the cover I do like? The French version #1.
French version #1. Oh no.
But there's a spoiler in the cover.
Oh,
though.
it's 100% a spoiler.
It's a boy with a very flat haircut. And there are shadowy.
That's the spoiler.
Yep, his hair all along, super flat. There's like dark, shadowy figures behind him, which, you know, I think they look kind of alien-esque. But also, there's a bunch of planets in the sky behind him. So
Yeah.
you know.
And Korean is brilliant as usual.
Yeah.
But also, the trading cards, sorry to move away from the cover, but if you just owned these trading cards without any context, someone would definitely think there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, there's one of a boy just screaming because he got hit by a snake. Hit by a snake?
Hit by a snake. Someone threw a snake at him.
The snake hit him so hard. And then there's the one with the drowning, which we'll get into.
Yeah, and it just shows a person drowning. They're on a canoe trip. Someone's drowning. And that's the card. Like, oh, this is fun. I love looking at this picture.
Yeah,
He's face down in the water.
Oh my god, that's so funny.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's so weird. But
Yeah,
yeah, so the cover, it's fun, but yeah.
It's fine, but I'm not impressed.
Mm.
The 2003 version is the same, except flipped horizontally. And
A lot of them are 10s.
2010 one is a similar concept, but a different monster. He's a little hairier.
Mm.
And he's right up on the tent in that one.
Yeah.
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 He's right up on it.
Right up on that tent.
He's about to chomp that tent.
I don't like how you said that. Like, that's something we always say, like a catchphrase.
Everybody say it with me. He's about to chomp that tent.
Oh. I just had to think.
That tent. Okay. So we can talk about the story now.
Yeah, let's get into it.
The cover. As you mentioned, Billy is a normal 12-year-old boy. He's on the bus to Camp Nightmoon, which has a boys' camp and a girls' camp. So there's a bit of a mixed crowd on the bus. But we're introduced to our main characters, essentially. Mike, Colin, Jay, as well as Dawn and Dory for the girls. And things start to get kind of weird. They go through like the general kids on a bus scenario. They're doing
everyone knows that scenario.
Yeah, a bunch of kids on a bus.
Hey, I'm Dawn.
Doing bus things, talking to each other for the first time, meeting new friends, throwing
there
things,
there was one weirdly specific bus thing that happened that made me flash back to being a child riding a bus, where I don't know if it's Billy or someone else. It must be Billy because it's from his point of view, where he slumps down in his seat and puts his knees up against the seat in front of him. And I was like, oh man, that takes me back. Absolutely.
That is some good bus sitting. Oh,
yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
I just had a...
Because when you're in a child body, you're like the exact perfect proportions to do that.
Yeah. And it just feels so right. Yeah. It's so relaxing. Letting your feet dangle. Man, I want to be in a bus right now, but I would not fit in those seats.
So the
squeeze ourselves in.
Yeah.
The bus stops at some point, and the driver has turned around and scared the kids because he's wearing some sort of monster mask. And this seems to come out of nowhere that he would do
and
this.
it's a goose hanger. The end of the chapter is like, he's got this crazy hair and a bright blah blah blah. So the very first chapter ends with the bus driver just suddenly being a monster.
And I think this is to set up to start to make them feel uncomfortable. And that, they're not quite in the safety of a summer camp as they expect. Because he ends up dumping them in what would appear to be the middle of nowhere. So he stops the bus, he unloads all of their crap, and doesn't say anything. They keep asking him, what's going on? Is someone going to pick us up? What are we doing here? And he ignores them, dumps their stuff, and then leaves.
Yeah, it's kind of
Which,
terrifying.
the funny thing about that goose hanger into the next chapter is that, like, oh, you know, the goose hanger is that the bus driver put on this wacky mask and, like, scared the kids. So you think once you get that relief that it was a joke, it's like, oh, this is a fun bus driver. He must be cool. And then suddenly as soon as he takes off the mask and laughs at them, then he just starts being mean to them and ignoring them, and then he ditches them in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah,
It's like, why did he do that?
It's more terrifying that he abandons children in the desert? Well, it's like a barren kind of landscape. More than him just being like oh, I'm a monster. It's like, I'm a human monster. I'm gonna abandon you. Ugh.
Not just the abandonment the kids have to worry about, because these mysterious creatures appear, and in the book they're described as kind of cat/wolf-like, and they start to attack the platform, and the kids freak out, but they're saved. The day is saved when the camp bus pulls up, and the camp director, Uncle Al, appears and shoots at them with, I can't remember if it was a gun or another tranquilizer gun. I think it was a gun.
Yeah, I don't think it was specified that it was a tranquilizer gun, so I think we can just assume it was a hunting rifle that this man picking up these children was just shooting off willy-nilly.
Yeah.
And Uncle Al takes the kids to camp. The girls go to the girls' camp, the boys go to the boys' camp, and the boys are introduced to their counselor, Larry.
Larry.
As you said before.
Larry.
Larry, who just aggravates me to no end.
Oh, he's the typical, like, just 90s, like, older kid, like, bully, like, rude, like...
I love him.
He's really terrible, so of course you do.
I love him. I know that Uncle Al is supposed to be, like, the TM weird adult of this book, but I think Larry is my weird adult of this book. We get more time with Larry, you know?
Even though Larry is just an older
he's a teen. Yeah, he's supposed to be like 17 or 16 or something, not even older teen.
And I think it's funny because in the book compared to the show, they kind of flop. Like, Larry's, not very nice, but he's worse in the show. And then Uncle Al is, not too bad in the show, but he's worse in the book. They kind of like reverse their roles a little bit there.
Yeah, in the show he's almost like comforting, Uncle Al. There's like certain scenes where I'm like, oh, I would feel better if Uncle Al said that to me in this situation. I would think he had everything under control. But in the book he's just mean.
Yeah. So interesting that they just flipped them, and interesting that you described it that way, I think. Cool. Yeah. Okay, so the hits just keep on coming. Because Mike finds snakes in his bed,
and it hits them.
It hits them. One of them hits him with its teeth
in his hand.
And it happens because the other boy, Jay, pushes Mike into the bed. They're like, haha.
Oh yeah, can we talk about the bunkmates real quick?
Pushes him in. Yeah, of course.
Yes, please.
Because we actually, I mean, to varying degrees, there's always like somewhat descriptions of the different characters, but I think it really worked in this book. I could really differentiate all these different boys by their personalities.
Yeah,
that's true.
So we've got Jay, who we've mentioned, who is kind of a jokester, kind of a horsing around jock type, right? And then
joking jock Jay.
He's the redhead, because there's always a redhead described in every single Goosebumps book.
As a redhead myself, I can confirm that we're pretty much all jocks and jokesters.
See, I had
pretty much always horsing around.
Hair. Always horsing around.
What was that?
I had no idea he had red hair, because that's one of the details I just don't keep.
Oh yeah, that's right. You don't really pay attention to the physical descriptions as much.
No, but I did get
Larry's
the
a redhead too.
Personality ones, but I didn't get the physical.
I think that's interesting. Because I totally get that. I think that's valid too. If there's enough of a personality description, then you don't really need the physical one. Because in fact, wait, no, now I'm getting the TV show confused with the book, because they do some swapping a little bit.
Yeah, they do. Yep.
But so that's Jay. Jay's kind of the jock. Jay, jock, joker.
He's a big old redhead too, though.
Jay, jock, joker, ginger. He's all those things.
Yeah, Ginger with a J.
Yeah. And then there's Colin. Okay, let's talk about Colin.
Oh, Colin.
Colin is
He's
the cool kid. That's his entire personality. He's cool.
cool Colin. Cool Colin.
He is a child who's always wearing sunglasses and a bandana on his head.
Oh, right.
I love that. Love that for him. Love it. And then Mike is just like a sweet little bean who doesn't want to be there.
Little meek Mike. Meek
Yeah.
Mike.
A sweet little bean.
He is. He's a sweet little bean, and I felt so bad for him.
He has to have the, Billy steps up and takes charge and takes care of him.
Yeah. Which in retrospect of knowing the whole plot and the whole ending, it makes so I wonder if the child actors in the fiction of this book, because everyone is an actor in this story except for Billy.
Yes, because it's a great big weird test.
Yes. So I think that they are all put there to test Billy and like his personality and how he's going to respond to things. And despite them all having different personalities, some of them more challenging than others.
Yeah.
Like, it's very easy to feel bad for Mike and try to protect him. But he does it for all the boys. He comes through for Jay and for Colin and Roger eventually.
Big boss Billy.
And this could be overthinking it, but since you were talking about the kids being actors, the way I imagined it in my head was that they're not hired like as actors. They're like the kids of people who work with this company or whatever. And so I didn't imagine that they were like making up personalities or trying to fill specific personalities. I think they were kind of being themselves, maybe over exaggerated versions of themselves, but to get like a 12-year-old kid to act in a specific personality for an entire summer, I don't know that they can do that. So for me, it was more like, this is who they are. The only acting they're doing is that they're
the events
and
that
the
are
events. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so the events, but they are, I'm sure, all like they are told like you need to befriend Billy. Like you need to, he needs to care about you.
Yeah. The unbelievable thing for me too is like just that children would be able to keep a secret, such a secret in for so long and not tell the person. You know what I mean?
That's true, but like let's just address the issue, the elephant in the room, the earth in the sky, if you will. Like these are aliens. Because we speaking right now are humans on Earth, but the characters
they're
in this
aliens
book
to us. Yes.
Are aliens to us. Now there are descriptions given of the characters, but they're just vague enough that they might these people may not even look human. We don't really know. Obviously, in the TV show they have to, because visually that would give away the secret right away. But like, we don't know if these kids are like really well, I guess they are kids of the scientists, but you're
saying I was thinking of that as I was reading it too, especially when Uncle Al is first introduced. And if you're assuming everybody's a human, this is all normal on the up and up happening on Earth, then you can assume that some of his description is just like sort of flowery writing.
Yeah.
But his like nose is described as a beak. His eyes are described as like small, and so like as I was reading it, knowing fully remembering the ending, I was like, "Ooh, maybe this is like a literal description of him."
Big and red face.
I also caught, as far as descriptions, and again, maybe this says something about us, that I do pay attention to like physical descriptions of the visuals very closely. Back to when Billy is they're all riding in on the bus. When Billy is like looking out the window at the landscape of the desert, it's described, again, this could be totally just normal writing, the way that like you could totally pass this by as like, he describes the landscape as the ground is yellow, and
Yeah.
maybe that is an equivalent of what a kid would say about a desert landscape. Like,
Yeah,
oh, it's
like
close enough to
sand.
yellow. I'm going to describe it as yellow.
Yeah.
The hills in the background are described as red, which this is summer. Again, that could be a thing. There could be red shrubbery out there, but
I
that's
mean,
sort of unusual.
if this is in Arizona, then they have
the
like
hills
red
are
tinged
red.
roads. Yeah,
That's
but
true. That's true.
So
also, there are trees described as white,
Oh,
which is
really?
something easy to miss, and
where
that
is that right in the first page? Because I'm looking for it.
No, it's not the first page. It is. I don't remember where it was, but it was in the first or second chapter. There are trees
Okay.
described as white.
Okay.
Oh.
So that's unusual.
Yeah.
I don't know if I remember the white trees bit, but I remember the other bits. And I reading
But
this again.
if that was intentional, I think that was so well placed, because it totally is something that you could just be like, well, I don't know of any white trees, but you know,
I guess they exist somewhere.
I guess they exist somewhere.
Yeah, maybe they're
and you
white
don't really
flowers
question it. Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
But,
I have a fun fact on this topic specifically that I have read on the Wikipedia for this book. And it says, the Dutch translation of this story is very different from the original. The twist ending, in which the camp is shown to be government-run and the story is revealed to not be set on Earth, is removed. Instead, the camp turns out to be run by normal human criminals who enjoy scaring children for their own amusement. Another minor change is that the mammalian saber is replaced by a giant insect. So,
oh my god,
in that
that's
case,
amazing.
I guess they are human.
That is amazing. Wow.
That's very insidious.
Yeah.
That is so crazy.
So
I
it's
love that.
So it's like Monsters Inc., but it's not to make power. It's just because they like to frighten kids.
Yes.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh,
But it's just
that's
because we were talking about the alien descriptions, and in that version, they're not alien at all.
Well,
wow, that's really interesting.
Well, there's also, as I'm thinking of it, and I did also like these things as I was reading them too, Mickey, is that like when they're talking like on the bus, this all happens in the first two chapters, but on the bus on the way to camp, the kids are talking about where they live, and you can dismiss this by being like, well, he didn't want to put like Papa Stein didn't want to put a specific city, so he made it, but he's like, oh, I'm from Center City. Oh, I'm from Midlands. It's north of Center
City. It's very sci-fi novel.
That stood out to me. Yeah,
I'm near Outreach Bay. Like, it's just,
those are dystopian sci-fi.
Exactly. It totally has, but it's also in a way, and again, this is just a children's book. Like, kids are never going to think that, and they probably don't have as much experience with like dystopian sci-fi to like see those. But I thought the same exact thing reading that. I was like, oh, Papa Stein is wiggling his fingers into like a little dystopian sci-fi sort of stuff here. Like, I totally thought the same thing when they were describing like the cities and the towns they were from.
Yeah, but like as a kid reading this, or like maybe even just coming into this as as like at the first read, maybe not expecting that sort of direction, it would have just been like, oh yeah, Midlands, whatever. Maybe that's like the South or something, or like Kansas. Like whatever, Center City, whatever. That's not a big deal.
I think we all know R.L. Stein's writing of these books enough at this point that I do think that was intentional too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because his other books, he'll make up a town, but it sounds like a real town name, like Dark Falls,
like Maple Valley. Like, I'm pretty sure that's Stardew Valley.
Yes, I also picked that up. It was very subtly like, Center City. Like,
I really liked it though. I thought it was such these little breadcrumbs, and we're going to continue to like, you continue to see them throughout the book. Okay, we should just keep going. Let's Stacy pick up where we cut her off.
So we were talking about the snakes in Mike's bed. They bite him, and the other kids. Well, it's kind of Billy's idea to wrap the snakes up in the bedsheet and throw them out in the woods.
Yeah.
Which is
good thinking for Billy.
But Mike's not doing so good. So they go looking for a nurse and find out that there's no nurse at the camp.
That's a red flag.
Yeah.
That's real bad.
Little worrisome, but they write it off. Maybe Uncle Al has training. They don't necessarily need a nurse. We don't know. But Mike's not doing so good. That night though, they have a cookout. And Billy learns about the forbidden bunk. And Larry tells them all about Saber. So they're not allowed to go to the Forbidden Bunk because of this creature out there named Saber.
Yeah.
Which is a little terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
The following day, the kids play scratch ball. And this is kind of like baseball in a way. I forget the rules. They're slightly
But
different.
it's
Again, this
just
is another
different enough.
subtle. Yeah, this is another subtle. Like, oh, is he just making up things because this is a fictional story, or are we somewhere that we shouldn't recognize? Which I love. I love those little nuggets.
It's not a real thing. I mean, there is a scratch ball, but it's not a baseball thing.
Yeah,
right,
no.
And also, you don't hit the ball, apparently. What is the word he uses? Toss? You toss the ball.
Oh, yeah, you throw the bar. You throw the ball as high and far as you can.
Yeah, so instead of hitting it with a bat, you throw it.
That's true. It is just off enough to be like a planet that developed similarly to ours, but not quite the same.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. But anyway, this is when Billy gets to see Larry's true aggression. Because he's really upset with one of the kids and ends up pelting him with the ball. Even though he says it was an accident, Billy is 100% sure this was.
Billy saw that look in his eye.
It's at Colin. That's who he threw it at.
Yes. Yeah. Cool Colin.
And Colin most likely has a concussion. But, he's hurt, but they carry on as if nothing has happened. They get back to their bunk, and all of Mike's stuff is gone. So Mike got hurt. He went looking for the nurse. No nurse. But he's sitting out of. I think he was sitting out of scratch ball, and so they get back, and everything is gone.
Yes, very disturbing.
Which is worrisome.
Oh, I think I don't know. Did we mention the. Like, I know I mentioned it in the summary, but did we talk about the animal howls or the something howls at night seem to be coming from the Forbidden Bunk?
Yeah.
Well, I think that goes in with the next bit when Jay and Roger go to the Forbidden Bunk.
Yeah, but they do hear it earlier on.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Jay and Roger make a trip to the Forbidden Bunk. They try and get Billy to go, and they urge him. They're like, come on, man, come with us. And Billy's like, no, dude, we're not supposed to go out there. It doesn't sound safe. Which is the good choice, because he then proceeds to hear screams and snarls, and Jay rushes back to say that Saber attacked his friend Roger. We didn't introduce Roger. Roger's another kid at the camp that hangs out with Jay.
Yeah.
He doesn't. In the book, Roger does not live in their bunk. Correct. Mm-hmm. He's just someone who Jay sort of hangs out with.
Yep. Exactly. And one of the worst parts is the counselors don't believe them, and they're like, but it's Roger. He's gotten hurt. We have to check on him. And Larry checks in with Uncle Al and returns to tell them that there is no Roger at camp, so he has no idea what they're talking about.
There's never been a Roger. No first name, no middle name, no Roger.
No Roger. No more Mike, no more Roger.
Like, I think despite all the, like, weird, crazy, garbage nonsense that has happened so far, that might be one of the most unsettling things.
Yeah.
Especially as a kid, for, like, you to, like, have a friend, your friend gets hurt, and then you, like, there's the repetition of kids going to adults in Goosebumps books, and the adults either usually dismissing them or not believing them. But for them to just flat out be like, who are you talking about? There's never been anyone here by that name. It's just so, like, even as a grown adult, I just got goosebumps even thinking about it. It still, like,
it's
viscerally affects me.
I would be so mad.
Full on gaslighting.
Absolutely. Ugh.
Yep.
Awful.
Hey, have you guys ever had a friend that just vanished?
Yes.
Me too.
Yes.
I had a friend as a kid who I assumed she moved away, but I didn't know that she was moving, and she was just gone one day. And I never saw her again. Isn't that weird?
Weird.
It's very weird.
It's even weirder when you can't find them on social media.
Exactly, because it was the 90s. I had nothing. I was a child.
Although
I don't remember her name now. So
no, even now, if you look and can't find them, it's weird.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that.
very.
Yeah, oh yeah. Were they ever real? Are we on a distant planet? No, we're not. This is Earth. We're fine.
Anyway, that was kind of dark, but anyway.
I'm glad you didn't ask that during the camera book when what's her name disappeared.
Oh, yes. Yeah. A little less
Ooh.
wacky during that
Ooh.
discussion.
Yeah, this is like just as dark and bleak as that.
Yeah. Well, so to be clear, the friend I had didn't like walk into the woods and disappear. She just, I assume, moved away or something.
You were a child and didn't know where she moved to, and she moved away, and that was it.
Yeah. I think. I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know if she actually moved. So maybe she did walk into the woods and knock on.
Maybe?
I guess you would have heard.
All right,
about
okay,
that on the news.
listen.
I would have heard. Yeah, I probably
All
would
right.
have heard about it on the news.
This is getting really sad.
Unless her parents had something to do with it.
Well,
Sorry.
Okay. I think that would have been on the news too.
If they caught them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look at pictures of kittens.
Dawn and Dory show up from the girls' camp across the lake and tell Billy
across the lake and tell Billy that the same things are happening at their camp. Kids are getting hurt. They're disappearing. It's totally freaking them out. That's why they risk coming over here, which is against the rules. Billy then finds a payphone, but discovers it is fake. Oh my god, that was
why
so.
Not?
That was awful. That was so awful to pick up the phone and have it just be like a fake toy. Ugh.
He also discovers a mailbag, which
we haven't talked about the letters.
Yeah, that's what we're getting.
That's what's happening right now.
I know, but we didn't mention them before.
No, I'm going to explain it now.
Okay.
Billy finds a mailbag full of letters, and the kids have been asked to write letters every day back home to their families. Helps with homesickness, I guess.
Like weeks at this point.
So he finds the bag with letters in it, and he starts going through it and realizes these are letters from not just today or yesterday. They're from all of the days, from since the kids arrived at camps. They've just never been sent. So in conjunction with Dawn and Dory showing up, the payphone being fake, finding the mailbag, he starts to really freak out.
Yeah, he's realizing how serious the situation is.
Yeah, he is helpless.
He's not just in a dangerous camp. He's at a camp where the powers that be are willfully preventing the kids from contacting their parents and family or the outside world at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he plans to talk to his parents on Visitor's Day. When they come on Visitor's Day, he's going to tell them he needs to get out. He can't be here anymore. Colin and Jay have gone on a camping trip. So Billy goes back to the cabin to see if they're back and talk to them, but he discovers that they still haven't returned. And 2 other campers are now in their place, moving into the cabin. They've just arrived. They don't know who Colin and Jay are, but they do mention that Visitor's Day is canceled. So bam, 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 all of these things are now kind of going wrong. And Billy feels like he's starting to lose his mind, I think, at this point. I know I would.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is absolutely the book of gaslighting.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Mm-hmm.
But Billy goes on a canoe trip with Larry. I don't think he has much choice in this matter, because I definitely would not be going on a canoe trip, and I would not be going with Larry.
No.
And the new guys. Oh, the new guys are called Chris and Tommy.
That's right.
And
don't get too attached.
No, don't get attached. And this canoe trip is, Larry says that in order to make it exciting, they have to go farther down in the rapids, and because around here it's too calm. And oh gosh, at one point Larry falls in, and Billy dives in afterwards and saves him. But
very noble.
Yeah, that's awesome, especially for like such a crappy person.
Yeah,
he'll dive in and want to.
He'll still rescue someone even if he doesn't like them.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Good for you, Billy. Good for you. It is a 3-hour hike back. That's how far they've traveled from camp. But the other guys don't turn up. And this is where we start to see Uncle Al be a little... he takes a little bit of a turn, because he's not concerned about Billy and Larry or the 2 missing teens. He is more upset that the canoe is now gone.
Yep.
So that's our first taste of Uncle Al isn't just weird, but also he might be a bad guy.
Can I tell you something about this that maybe would have made me question things if I was Billy? So Billy and Larry fall out of the canoe before they reach apparently whatever their destination was supposed to be down the river. How long was it going to take them to walk back if they had gone all the way down the river?
Yeah, right?
Oh, I don't know.
The rivers don't loop. I mean, maybe this one does. We're on a different planet, so maybe this river loops around in a circle. But
This is the Circle River.
maybe there was like a predetermined stopping point. Maybe there was something cool to look at.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have no
Maybe
idea.
somebody was waiting with a car.
There must have been something because those two guys, I'm sure they're not dead. So they got off somewhere along the way.
That's true. Anyway, just something I thought about. Like
that is a good point because 3 hours is so long as it is.
And that's something you have to think about with, you know, if you've ever wanted to go on like a tubing thing down a river, you got to figure out transportation before and after the tubing adventure because rivers only flow one way.
One way and then a long hike back.
Exactly.
Good times.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this is why I don't go to camp. Sounds like a lot of work.
You don't go to camp because you don't like to be outside.
Did you guys ever go to summer camp?
I went to a day Girl Scout camp.
I went to a day camp as well. That was about it.
It was awful. It was an awful time. It was boring.
I had a great time.
Did you go to Camp Hoffman, Stacy?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I would go every year. I stayed overnight for 2 weeks. It was the best time. I looked forward to it all year, every year. It was my favorite time of the year. I loved camp so much.
I hated it.
The one
thing I found interesting was like, oh, there's like archery targets, and I never got to do that. I don't know. We sat around and did nothing. The same thing we did in Girl Scouts normally was sit around and do nothing.
Yeah, you have to get in a good troop with a good leader. I was in several throughout my Girl Scout career, and sometimes we just literally would do nothing. But I had some good troop leaders that we would actually do a lot of stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah, I don't know who these adults were that in their spare time wanted to like make fun, enriching activities for kids. But I mean, I guess they were like my friends' parents. But yeah, I had a good experience with Girl Scouts and a really good experience with camp. I loved camp. I had fun. I never got to do the archery there either. They had archery stuff set up. And
they acted like you could do it.
Yeah, it was
like,
there.
Here's the archery range.
Yeah, I never got to do the archery either. Stacy, let's do archery.
Okay. I wish I had been to camp. The one day I went, it was fun, but
you went one day. That's so sad.
I know it was really fun though. But we did a miniature zip line, which was really just like a little rope pulley that was like, you know, a couple inches off the ground. And it went for maybe like 7 or 8 feet. We did like an activity where we did truss falls, so
fun.
That was a little weird in retrospect, but you know, it was fun at the time. Like we all grew closer together. These kids
what was this with? Like,
I don't have any idea. I don't remember anybody that was in it. I don't know. I have
weird.
No idea.
Just one isolated day of camp.
Yeah.
That's so bizarre.
That's very weird.
I don't even remember getting dropped off there. I just remember being there.
Was this a dream, Alison?
No. Maybe. Okay. No, it wasn't.
Mine was summer Macarena came out. I remember we did the Macarena.
Oh man, that was a big year.
And they forced us to have nicknames. And I was like, I don't want to have I like my name. I don't have a nickname. And they were like, well, you have to make something up. I was like, can I just use my name? And they're like, no. So they had you they were like, oh, do you know, what cartoon characters do you like? And blah, blah, blah. And finally I just picked Taz for Tasmanian Devil. And they were like, that's what you're going to pick? I was like, dude, I didn't want to pick. What is your problem?
think that's a great nickname.
They judged you? They bullied you into picking and then they judged you?
Wait,
so miserable.
I have a really important question. What year did the Macarena come out?
Yeah, I'm going to find out because I still 92. Remember this.
I'm guessing 90. No, not 92. 96.
Or you're guessing.
We'll see. If it was 96, I specifically remember going to camp that year.
93.
Because,
okay. Oh, okay. I was close.
Wow, so you were little.
Yeah, and they were mean. I still remember it.
That's
I
sad.
believe that's so sad that like grown-ups were like, "Hey, pick a fun cartoon." No, not that one, you weirdo.
It was
Ugh.
super awkward.
What a
See,
gross
so
adult.
most of the time when I went there, I do think one year we were given the option to pick a nickname. I don't think it was ever forced upon us. But 96, I definitely I wanted everyone to call me Izzy. Do you know why? 96? Izzy? Does this ring a bell for anyone?
Let me think.
All right.
No, I have no idea.
There was a world event that was happening in the summer of 96 in Georgia. Anything? Anyone?
No.
The Summer Olympics were in 96. And the mascot they had made up was this weird cartoon thing called Izzy. And I was obsessed with drawing Izzy. And
I'm looking up Izzy.
And I wanted everyone to call me Izzy.
Looking up Izzy.
Oh,
Izzy.
it's adorable.
Mascot.
Yeah.
Wikipedia.
He's super cool.
It's very cute and very brightly colored.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, so I'll always remember that the Summer Olympics were in. That's how I remember when the Olympics are going to happen. Because I just do the math of 4 years from 1996. Because I know 96 was the Summer Olympics.
That explains why the rest of us had no idea what you were talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
I was 10.
But our counselors always had nicknames. Like, we never knew until the last day of camp you would find out your counselor's real name. But until then, you only called the counselors nicknames.
Maybe
and I remember
too.
Yeah, I remember some of them. There was one named Jude. She picked her name after the Beatles song. And there was Sunkissed. She had red hair, like a Sunkissed soda. And then who else was there? There was one counselor who I thought was so cool. And you'll appreciate this, Stacy. She always had like raver bracelets on, like all the way up her arms. And she was from England. And yeah, she was so cool. And I don't remember her nickname. But again, these were counselor nicknames. So again, I could not look them up if I wanted to.
We went on a field trip for the oh no, maybe that was Richmond Rec. Never mind. It wasn't. It was Richmond Rec when we went to the water park.
Fun.
It wasn't fun. I didn't have a good time.
Okay. Well,
I'm not good with children social activities.
Outdoor activities.
Obviously.
Yeah.
They used to do ice cream at Richmond Rec too. Like you could buy an ice cream every day, and that stressed me out for some unknown reason. I don't even remember what it was.
As an adult, I get it because the stuff that I thought was fun doing in a big group of kids, now I think of a large group of children all congregating together, and it just sounds like a nightmare. It sounds awful.
Yeah, it was like outdoors activities. I don't want to do outdoors activities. I want to read and be on the computer and I don't know.
I wish you could have gone to book camp.
Yeah, that would have been great. Maybe I should have been at like a science camp or something.
Yeah, totally.
Man. So the next morning, Uncle Al wakes everyone up super early to take them on a special hike. Special hike. They hike out into the woods, and the counselors and Uncle Al proceed to hand out rifles to all of the campers. He tells them that 2 girls have run away from Camp Nightmoon Girls Camp, and it's their job to hunt them down. Don't fear, though. They're not regular rifles. They're rifles with tranquilizers in them.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
That makes it better.
Definitely can't seriously injure anybody with a tranquilizer rifle and unskilled children shooting them.
So we have to track them down. We have to bring them back. And this is the time when Billy finally stands up and he says, no, this isn't okay. Like, I can't do this. And Uncle Al's like, of course you can. They've run away. They're not supposed to do that. It'll be fine. It's just tranquilizers. And he says no. And he, it says he shouts at, it says, my note says, Billy says no and shoots at Uncle Al.
Yeah.
With the tranquilizer.
He found his line and he put his foot down.
Yeah. And he went there. He pulled the trigger. And that is when he discovers that this has all been a test and he has passed. The kids, the campers, the counselors, they're all in a government lab. And everyone is an actor. They're all there. Everyone is fine. All of the missing kids come back. His parents are there, Billy's parents. Everyone
And
turns
everyone's
up.
just smiling and laughing and
There
saying,
is
Hey,
like
good
"Oh,
job. We
confusing.
scarred our son.
Yay! Billy's parents are scientists, and they're going on an expedition, which is very dangerous, but they want to bring Billy along, so in order to do so, he has to go through certain tests. But now he has passed, and they're ready for their adventure to Earth.
Dun dun dun.
Because there's a dangerous species there, of course.
yes."
So
Called
that's when we get our
humans.
And apparently this is also based on a Twilight Zone episode. With
Yeah.
a similar theme.
Oh,
Yeah.
neat.
Man.
Do you guys like this ending?
I want
Mixed?
well, I'm just curious why you asked it like that.
Oh, because I'm not sure.
Okay.
I
Well,
think I do. I think I like it.
Well, do we want to talk about the show first before we give our, or do you want to know?
Oh, well,
right
I mean, I was just talking about the ending itself,
Okay,
not the book as a whole, but
I like the ending.
Yeah.
But it's complicated.
yeah.
We've seen it a lot. Like this isn't new, but when you're a little kid, it might have been more
when
fun.
I read it as a kid, it was brand new.
That's what I'm saying. Like
Yes.
now it's not as impressive to us because
Mhm.
it's a trope we know and understand. But as a little kid in the 90s, maybe you don't know because you probably didn't watch
Twilight
Twilight
Zone.
Zone.
Yeah, but I like it. I like the ending, but it's complicated. But I'll get more into that when we do our rating. But I really want to talk about the episode.
Okay.
Episodes.
Take it away because my only note was kind of what I was describing earlier, where Uncle Al and Larry were slightly different in their personalities. Other than that, I mean, for me, the episodes are always they're the episodes.
I mean, they
give and take a little bit because it's a TV episode. It has a budget. They have to change characters, condense things, that type of stuff. But they added characters this time.
They did, yes. Well, they took all the 90s, for lack of a better word, campiness, and they like turned the dial up to maximum setting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm surprised that Mickey's not chiming in. I'm maybe she doesn't, but I loved the episodes.
Oh, I loved it. I loved it.
There's 2 episodes. Oh, we forgot to mention that. This is actually 2 episodes.
They're just buck wild. They're completely over the top. As with most of the episodes for Goosebumps, you can tell the actors, like the adult, the people playing the like grown-ups, you can tell they're just having a ball. You can tell the actor playing Uncle Al is just like...
He was great.
He was great. Larry was great. Such a like...
Larry was the quintessential snotty teen. He was so good.
Oh, yes. Despicable.
Yeah, if you could take like stereotypical 90s snide, snotty, blonde, entitled like bully, it would be Larry. Just like an edge of maliciousness, but like overall just like cartoonish, but just great. It's a huge cast of characters too. This might be the largest cast we've seen in a Goosebumps episode so far, because it's like it's not like, obviously it's not like 30 actual kids, but it's a lot of kids. We do see what is it, within like the first 5 minutes of the episode, after the kids get dropped off from the bus driver, the creature that comes up to them, we see a little bit of clearly a fake animatronic, some sort of robot controlled like monster with like big sharp teeth. It looks like a werewolf face essentially. And then Uncle Al comes out of the woods and shoots what looks like a flare gun, but makes the ground explode. Like a literal explosion.
Yeah, there's like a huge explosion. It's kind of impressive.
And
I assume it was practical.
Yeah, I'm sure there were no computer effects in this. So they all like hike to camp. It's just like Uncle Al, like wacky camera angles. Like we see jokey Jockster Jay and little Meek Mike and cool Colin with his bandana and his sunglasses. The only kid wearing sunglasses
all the time.
all the time, even at night. It's like lighthearted goosebumps, good old goosebumps scares. I really love it.
Yeah. I thought I loved it too. I didn't think it was I mean it definitely is campy, but it wasn't I think it rode the line between campy and like for me genuinely good. Like I think this episode was like genuinely good. And
yeah, I don't mean campy in a bad way.
No, I know you don't. I know. But there's like I don't know how to describe it, but like I don't like it in an ironic way whatsoever. And the kids are all really good, giving it 100%.
Yes.
And I don't know, it was just really fun to watch. And something I noticed about this episode that I don't typically notice in Goosebumps episodes is that they took a lot of dialogue directly from the book.
Yeah.
Which is just like a little thing, but I had just read the book before watching the episodes, and I was like, oh, that's actually a line from the book. And like, oh, that's also actually a line from the book. I remember that direct line. And I also noticed the cinematography was really good.
Oh yeah, like the
episodes.
Do you mean like the camera?
Yeah, all the camera angles and shots. They just were like, let's just do it all. There's Dutch angles. There's what do you call that zoom where it's zooming in and out at the same time? The like Hitchcock one.
It's a push pull or
a push pull. They do a push pull at one point.
They do the point of view of the monster, like Saber, like running through the woods. Like
there's some fun shots where there's at least one where Billy, I can't remember, he's like running somewhere and he stops in a clearing. I think they do like all of like the Hitchcock angles, because there's a part where he like is in a field and he's like spinning around looking for something, and the camera is from a low angle looking up at him and is also spinning around in like the opposite direction. Like they just had fun with it, and it was fun to watch.
Roger's not in the show, is he?
Yes, he is.
Is he?
It's someone else who's not in it.
Okay. Who's the one that gets the concussion with the scratch ball?
Colin.
Okay. I love the actor playing Colin. When this is not in the book, but they do like just like bunk 4 camps out in tents or something, and Colin had his concussion earlier the day from scratch ball, and he's like bundled up in like a gigantic sleeping bag like a caterpillar, and they hear like howling and they go to find it, and so they go, and Billy's like, no, I gotta stay with Colin, he needs me, he has a concussion and he's sleeping, so not great.
Yeah, but that's a good sign.
There's like a scene where they like get out and Colin's like in the beanbag wide awake, and he's just like, Saber's coming.
Just his face sticking out, by the way. So he's completely tucked in the sleeping bag, and just his face is sticking out. And what does he say? He says something like, Saber's coming. He's hungry.
Yeah, they pick him up.
So funny.
And they carry him in the sleeping bag.
And drop him.
And they drop him several times. Even though he's fully awake. Like, he and they run back to their bunk, and they're being chased. Oh, wait, did they run back to their bunk or bunk 4? No, they run back to their bunk 4 is their bunk. I meant the forbidden bunk. They run back to their bunk. Colin like slides under the bed. It's just like, it's so hysterical. It's like,
it was very funny.
It's like scary because they're being chased. Their fear is real, but it's so like
fun. It was very cartoony.
Fun. It's very cartoony. Like it was, and then it ended with like the thing chasing them coming into the bunk. That was episode 1. And then oh man, just
it was great. That was probably my favorite part of the episode. When he like squirms under the bed.
Absolutely. So funny. And it's just Larry that comes in. It's just Larry and Colin's still under the bed making cryptic messages. Like, it was such a good, wild, weird touch. So then they go like swimming, and 2 kids like drown or under the canoe. But they don't.
Oh yeah, that's instead of the canoeing. They just are like right near the bank.
Oh wait, yeah. Another little touch is that whole situation happens because they're out in the canoe having a great time, paddling in opposite directions.
Yes.
And saying, Billy, come swim out here. Grab a paddle and swim out here. Like, you can just climb into a canoe from the water.
He jumps into the water after they fall in and drown
Well, no,
and disappear.
before that, the best thing is that Larry comes out and he's mad at them because they don't have life jackets on, and he's holding what he is referring to as life jackets that are like inflatable pool toys.
Yeah, what the heck was that?
It was so funny. I loved it. You gotta wear your life jacket, and he's literally holding like an inflatable horse,
like a
pool
donut
toy.
or something.
Yeah.
That was
so
it's
funny.
Just yes. I think he gave Billy like an actual life preserver, like an old-fashioned one. But
I think he throws one at Jay or one of the kids in the canoe, and that's why they fall over.
Oh, right, they fall in.
But he throws him, and he says, "Here, put on a life jacket, and it's a life preserver. It is like a lifesaver, life preserver."
Yeah. Also, they
funny.
fall in. And they start, like, drowning, even though there's floating things right next to them. And Larry's like, "Come on, guys, what are you doing?" And then, like...
And they never come back up.
And then Larry just, like, walks out, away. He's like, "What are you doing?"
Oh, yeah, he was like, "I was never here. I was never here."
He specifically incriminates himself. He says, "I was never here. I didn't see anything." And he runs away.
So he doesn't even say it like, well, he does say it to Billy, but Billy's like underwater. He's like, "I was never here. This didn't happen. I was somewhere else." And he like flees. And then here's my only problem with like knowing this like back then is that Billy swims right up to the upturned canoe and he goes underwater and he looks around. Now what happened, the rationale was these two kids were underneath the upturned canoe in the air bubble underneath it. Billy was right next to them. How did he not see them?
Murky water.
All right,
and he didn't think to look under the canoe.
If that's the best you've got, I'll accept it. But I see that's knowing what I know about how they were just kind of hanging out there. I'm not really buying it, but I'll excuse it for sheer comedic value of him, Larry throwing a inflatable pool donut.
But I thought everyone's favorite character would be the engineer.
The big glasses dude?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the camera angle on him. Did he have a name?
Yeah. What was it?
Hold on. Oswald,
George.
Or was
George.
it George?
It was
okay.
It was George. It was George.
Are you sure it was George? I feel like it was a wild name.
It was George.
Yeah, I was thinking like it's Spanky or something
No.
weird. She's like,
it
no,
was
George.
Okay.
Or maybe his
George.
real... Did he have a fake name and a real name? I just remember at the end, Uncle Al calls him out and says, "Come on out, George." And he has like the controls for the fake monster.
Yeah, because Saber's a machine.
The monster thing is cool though. Like
it is cool.
It's so cool.
Job for the creature.
Do they ever explain it in the book?
No.
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 I don't think it's real. I think it's just noises that they play because they never see it.
That's true. In the show, they show it several times, but it would have been a little bit anticlimactic to not have a little bit of a visual in the show. Yeah, I understand. So
and
Billy runs away.
The thing is, the animatronic is so cool. It's really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
So the stories changed a bit in the episode because they just had to for the sake of like a fluent episode, they didn't want to just be like, it's a different time in the book than it is in the show, just because that's how things are filmed. And so after the drowning incident, Billy like is running through camp and like is soaking wet clothes. He can't find anybody. He goes back to his cabin. All the beds have been like stripped down. It's just his bed. He's like alone. There's no sign of any other person. He's being chased by Saber. He has like a full-on mental breakdown. Like he's on his bunk. He's like crying or something. He's like shaking, rocking back and forth. Like it's really sad. And it's really horrible that these people like put him through this, like actively put him through this. And like, so then he like gets dressed. There's like this whole montage. He gets like a bat, which maybe was from a scratch ball. I don't know. And then he like goes.
Jay in the first scene. Jay is holding a baseball bat or a scratch ball bat when they get off the bus. I noticed that.
All right.
So that was like intentionally placed.
Okay. So yeah, if you show us the smoking gun in Act 1, it has to be
exactly.
So then he like goes out the cabin. He's like got his kid on, and like the air is like real, like super windy. It's like really misty. There's papers blowing around. This is when he discovers the letters from like week 1 because they're like blowing all over from camp. And he finds them like in the forbidden cabin, I think. Like all the like bags of letters and stuff.
With Dawn.
Dawn's in there. And she's like, "I escaped, this and this." And like
Yeah,
then
she's not
they
much of a character in the TV show.
no,
Because she's
unfortunately,
just there
yeah.
at the beginning, and
Yeah.
then when he finds her in the cabin is pretty much it,
Yeah.
right?
I
Yeah.
think so, yeah. And then he gets out. Larry tracks him down. Larry and Uncle Al. In the book, they say this too. They're like in full camo, super dark sunglasses,
Yeah,
and they're like,
that was a fun touch to me. I
yeah,
don't know. I
all
thought it
the
was fun how much that escalated. It's like, oh,
it's
they're in army
super quick.
fatigues now.
Yup, and they're like the boys are in a line. Here comes George. He's got big bags of stuff. What's he hand out the guns? Yeah, he hands out. No, it's like crossbows or something.
They're
Crossbows.
little
Yep.
crossbows,
Yeah, mini
little
crossbows.
child-sized crossbows.
And then Uncle Al is like, "Listen, Billy, we got to hunt those girls." Blah blah blah. And then Billy has to stand off and all this stuff. And then does he actually pull the trigger? Like
pulls the
nothing
trigger.
happens. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when Uncle Al's like, "Yeah, I'm so proud of you. Yeah." Even Larry's like, "You did it, Billy. You did it." Like it's just really jarring. And then his parents come out, and it's a whole big thing. And I don't know. I feel like in the book, Billy's a little more like, what's going on? What? In the show, he's just like, oh, it was a test the whole time. Oh, okay. I don't know. It just seemed a little quick at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
But then Saber comes out and he's the machine. Everyone's laughing again. Oh, we scared our son. And then they look up to the sky. What do they see there?
Earth.
The planet Earth, which is apparently so
Really close.
that
Really
you can just
close.
like closer than the moon looks to us at night, essentially.
Yeah.
So like
Invisible during the day.
yeah. Just like I don't know, I prefer the ending of the book to be. I mean, I know it's almost identical, just a little bit, I don't know. But yeah, I love the episodes. Episodes were a very good time.
Well said.
Yeah, thank you. I had a fun time recapping that.
Allison, you said you had to cover something with your rating. So would you like to go first?
I said that I liked the ending of the book, but it was complicated. What I meant by that is, look, I do genuinely like the ending. As an adult, knowing what I know of like books and stories and narratives throughout my life, yes, it is it's cliche. It's a little stale. I've heard it before. But like thinking of this in like the 90s, reading it as a kid, it was like mind-blowing. It was like, yeah, sometimes Goosebumps endings are like, but the monster might still be alive, like something like that. But in this, the ending was they're on a whole other planet. And you know what? I'm thinking of it now. This book may be what first got me into science fiction. Because I really, really loved that twist at the end.
Yeah.
I adored it. I adore it as an adult, like knowing that I'm kind of like a little bit numb to it, because of all my exposure. But I really loved it as a kid. I thought this book was like amazing, groundbreaking.
You are
Never
very
been anything
polarized.
like
With your ratings, you're always absolutely love it or absolutely hate it.
Yeah.
I'm hot or I'm cold. I'm yes or I'm no. It's in or it's out. It's up or it's down. I know.
So what is your number then?
I am going to give this.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I have some minor grievances with it, but I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 5.
Wow.
Invisible Earths.
Cool.
Yeah. 5 out of
What's your
4.5 out of 5.
highest rating?
No, I have a 5 out of 5 for Night of the Living Dummy.
Yeah, that's why I said this is your second highest rating.
A 4. Oh, right, because it was just a 4 out of 5. Okay,
4.5.
yeah.
Did you already forget your rating you just gave it?
No, I'm looking at it for Welcome to Dead House, Say Cheese and Tie, and The Curse of the Mummies 2, and they're all 4 out of 5.
Yeah.
I'm pretty generous, except for the one book. No, the 2 books.
There were 2 that you did really love.
Yeah. All right. What about you guys?
I'll go. I liked it. It's pretty good. I enjoyed reading it. I really liked all the characters. I like that we got to like really know sort of. I mean, and we get that occasionally in these books, but sometimes the kid characters are kind of flat and don't really have much personality. And I liked that we got to know and really like these kids that he went to camp with, who were all actors.
Yep, not his friends at all.
I like the ending. I like the setting. I don't know. I liked it a lot. I loved Larry. So I'm going to give this one it's not my favorite, but it was good.
We
I'll
missed
give it.
Okay, there we go.
What? Oh, sorry.
It sounded like you had cut off, so I thought we missed the number completely, but no, you just hadn't given it yet. Sorry.
It's okay. Don't worry, you're gonna get it.
Ugh.
I will give this one a 4 out of 5 forbidden cabins.
Oh my god, that's what I was gonna use.
Haha,
Sorry.
I beat you to
Stacy.
it.
Maybe you should rate faster then, huh?
Oh my god, now I have to think of something else.
I was afraid one of you was gonna say it before me.
So I'm very middle of the road with this one. Middle to low, I would say. So for me, it would be 3 out of 5 deadly canoe trips.
Nice. I think that's fair. I almost went lower, but I did really enjoy it while I was reading it. So
I was tempted to go a little lower because Say Cheese and Die is 3 out of 5 as well, and I liked that a bit more. Maybe I do want to
really?
go more. Maybe I want to do 2.75 out of 5.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to go with.
Do it. Follow your heart.
I'm fine with that. Your rating has no bearing on my rating. You cannot hurt me here.
Okay, so now that we have rated the books, next time we will be reading The Ghost Next Door.
Book 10.
Book 10. Ooh, and after book 10,
We are
who
going to
knows?
branch out a little bit.
Yeah, we're not
What?
we're not like stopping reading the Goosebumps books, but we're gonna add a
mix
book.
it up a little bit and do
Yeah.
something a little bit different. Not too different, just a little bit different.
We're still going to be talking about a book, and it's still going to be written by R.L. Stein. So
Yes,
really
that's
not different.
But that's it for today.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Woo-hoo!